Good morning, family. Welcome to today's Lessons for Life. Today is Wednesday, September 9th, 2009, and today we're reading in Chronicles Chapter 7. And as always, I encourage you to read the chapter for yourself and see what you get from it. Email us and we'll put it on the blog. But this chapter, what stood out to me, and I was even talking to Mommy earlier this morning, and as she read it separately, this stood out to her as well too, was that we read about a man who has a son. One of his sons is actually killed, and his next son comes and he names him really out of the grief he had, or from he knew what had happened with his previous son. So one of the lessons that we can get from this chapter is first, the obvious lesson, I guess, is to be careful or be mindful of naming your son or naming your children, because that you may be acting out of an immediate moment or whatever, and this is something that is with the child for a lifetime. So we need to be mindful of that, and we've already spoken about the importance of a name and how it defines the nature, but we don't want to name a child out of what may be going on in our lives immediately. That's why I believe it is very great that we haven't named our last I believe it was 6 children. Our bishop has named the last 6, and the one that we're waiting on now is not. You don't want to rush into naming a child because you may pick the wrong name. I've heard stories about people just naming their children after the nurse or the doctor that was the one that delivered the child. And even someone recently had named the child after because she knows us, and she named, it was her grandson, I believe. It was a grandson, and her son didn't have a name for the child, so she just picked one of the names of our children and named him after one of our children, which was Josiah, which I thought was interesting and amusing, and but it's important for us to take into consideration when we're naming a child, because that stays with them for a lifetime. But that's like the immediate lesson I believe that we can get from this particular part of this chapter. But overall lesson that I want to share is really just not even acting on impulse. Not acting on, based upon the conditions that may be surrounding you, like we see this man does with naming his child. Even if we go back a couple of chapters, the same thing with Jabez, which we had talked about before too, where his mother named him out of, he had brought her pain or whatever, but she named him out of that. So another lesson we can get from this is really not acting out of impulse or out of what you might be feeling in the immediate situation, but actually looking at the big picture and making a more informed decision as we go through, making decisions every day in life. There's something when you go to, and I'm sure many people have heard this already, when you go to the supermarket, you don't want to go there hungry, because when you go there hungry, you start to think with your stomach instead of thinking, what the things you should be buying in the supermarket. So you're hungry, so you now start picking up stuff that you want to eat right now, and not thinking about, you're buying food for the day or for the couple of days for the week or what have you. So we want to learn how to make decisions, not based upon our immediate situation, and not based upon, what might be happening to us, right now, which might not be everything that needs to be considered in order to make a proper decision. So that's really an important lesson, like I said, for us to learn on how to make decisions properly, putting everything into the equation when you come up with a decision, not just acting off of what's happening to you right now and making a decision, because a lot of times you make the wrong decision, or you make a decision that is good for the moment but in the long run is not good. So I believe that is the overall lesson I wanted to share with you for Lessons for Life from this chapter, but there's some other stuff as well, so read it through like I said before. And with that, create yourself a wonderfully blessed day today, and we'll talk again tomorrow.